Dave Yoder says, oh, I believe you mentioned a desire to have a painting area in your shop in the future. How would you configure it? This is a question I am still answering in my brain. Yeah, I think it would involve a platform with some holes in it so that I could put in some upright sticks that have clamps on them for holding pieces that I'm painting. It also needs a little exhaust fan so I can airbrush and it can be drawn right into the exhaust fan right there. But that exhaust fan needs to be movable. I want to maybe put it on the platform, but I also want to be able to put it like right here on the workbench so I could airbrush and it could draw through a filter up into the ceiling. This means that I'd have to put a fairly powerful, like 4 or 6 inch fan up by the ceiling. And again, I have a couple of these. I have bought them. I have the tubing that goes to it. I've just never gotten around to doing this. Let's see what else. I need an excellent airbrush hanger and airbrush cleaning station to be part of this so that I can really quickly and like one of the things I love about the new Iwata brush that I bought, and I bought it because my friends at Weta Workshop use this brand in their painting department. And if a working shop like Weta is using an airbrush in their painting department, it means that it's fairly bulletproof. It means that it's easy to clean, easy to maintain, hard to break. Because that's the tool you are going to pay for in a working shop like Weta, where they're painting different stuff with different kinds of paints every single day. Sorry, no one asked me about this, but this is one of my favorite ways to research tools, is to go to a place like Weta Workshop or the Conservation Department of the Smithsonian or Frank Ippolito or Ryan Nagato's shop. I look at what they're using and ask questions about it. And sometimes I have a different opinion on the tool they're using, and sometimes they've got a better one, and I immediately add that one to my collection. But wait, what were you asking about? Painting area, yeah. I really am still collating what a painting area could be. I think it may need to be a rolling cart that sits over there. Right now, the cart that rolls, that does sit over there where I paint, I built it for pulling out my Sortimo boxes and utilizing them, but I've never really needed to do that, so it's become a painting platform. And again, like that's a shop infrastructure problem I have not solved. But we're in this, I won't say post-COVID, but in this era where I haven't done a lot of shop infrastructure in the last 3 months because of all the big projects I've had going on, I am definitely delving more deeply. And like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, I just completed a one-day build of a new cabinet for some machine tools that I've been thinking about for years. I spend so much time thinking about something before I build it and add it to the shop. Just percolating, just sort of pondering, oh, what should that go in? Where could that go? What could that live on? What could it live in? What would be a good way how do I want to reach for that? How do I want to, yeah, this is a really, really great question. What do I want the experience to feel like? It's a really great question to ask yourself. What do I want the experience to feel like? Because I want the experience to be easy. I want the experience of using something to be easy and simple, and I want to pull it out and use it, and then I want to put it back. And I don't want to have to do a lot of wrapping up and taping up and deinstalling and taking apart. I want it to be efficient and quick. And if it takes too long, I feel like it kills my momentum, and I don't like that. It was a constant source of friction between Heinemann and I, because there's a whole bunch of the farm boy in Jamie Heinemann that does not mind a logistical difficulty in finding or retrieving a tool. It doesn't throw him off. And for me, I like first order retrievability, man. I want everything at my disposal. I want that so much. I have 3 different sets of the same set of Allen wrenches, and they're all 12 feet from each other because of the way in which I like to work efficiently. So I am hoping that in the next few months or even few weeks that I do tackle a painting area, because it is sorely needed. I've been doing much more painting here in the shop. The airbrush has been getting a ton of use. And Dave, you're right. It is time that I tackle that. I know you weren't lecturing me, but I'm kind of lecturing myself about it. So thanks for the impetus. We're doing okay. A couple more. Yeah, we've been going for about an hour now. Vicky Bly. Hi, Vicky. Hello again. When she wants to know, when you are getting a new piece of shop equipment and there's no more room, what are the criteria you use to remove an item in your shop? Or do you play tile puzzle, move this piece here, that piece there, so you can get the desired item where you want to be working? Usually it is the second one. I joke about the tile puzzle of my life, but it truly is an intense and deep tile puzzle. But you have an interesting sub-question in here. What are the criteria you use to remove an item in your shop? It is very much the Marie Kondo criteria, which is to say, I look at a piece of equipment, let's say it's a glue gun, which I use so much, it lives right here. I ask myself, do I really use this, or do I like the idea of using this? And the answer is, I really use this. It goes right back. But there are other tools. Where, let's see, I mean, I'm not sure I can see many from where I'm standing because I do a lot of culling of this. But like I had a vacuum former, a big vacuum former sitting in the corner of this shop for years that I used once in the entire time it lived here. So the criteria for removing an item in my shop is simply a set of like 2 or 3 questions. How often do I use this? How often do I think I'm going to use it? Does it really belong here? And that's the criteria. That's the only criteria. It's not like tools are fighting for each other to get used. Everything in here either gets used on the regular or incredibly rarely. Look, I've got a bunch of small tools back here. I've got a tapping stand for tapping. I bought it because I keep seeing YouTube videos and This Old Tony and other folks using tapping stands, and I want to use them, but I still haven't gotten around to utilizing. I bought it last year. I set it up. I did some customization of it. It's great, but I still haven't utilized it. And to be fair, I may end up pulling it from the table. It sits right behind the camera that I'm talking at. I may end up removing it from that table and putting it into deeper storage simply because my plan for it when I got it, which was, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to do more tapping and more precise tapping of the stuff that I need. And the answer is, no, you're not. I didn't know that at the time. By the same token, my die filer, my little cast iron machine kit that I built that just makes a file go up and down so you can carefully file stuff, I use that stuff almost weekly. So yeah, I do the Marie Kondo. I look at the tool, and instead of saying, does this tool spark joy, I ask myself, how often have I used it? How often do I think I'm going to use it? And does it really need a central out space in the shop, or can it go into deeper storage? And I use it occasionally. A great example of that is my hot knife cutter. I have a beautiful hot knife cutter that I've covered on One Day Builds. I've covered on, tooltips here in the cave. And it does not get enough use for me to have it in regular rotation. So it sits on a high shelf. I have to go get a stool and put it in a place and get on that stool to go get that tool down in order to use it. But that is a fine amount of friction for a tool that I use so infrequently.